Folks, a year ago, I sat here and recorded a video saying, golly gee, the Calgary Flames are going to try to get a center at the NHL Draft. And then they drafted a defenseman in the first round by the name of Zane Parekh. And granted, I don't think anyone's terribly disappointed with the fact that they got Zane Parekh. They still need centers. So heading into the 2025 edition of the NHL Draft, the general consensus is that the Flames will probably get a center this time. Probably. And so, given the fact that they're probably going to try to aim to get a center, we figured, okay, let's just chat about what kind of centers are available in the 2025 NHL Draft, because the Flames are drafting at this point 18th overall with the New Jersey pick and 31st or 32nd with the Florida pick. So they're going to have some opportunities to get some centers, and we'll focus today's discussion on the 18th overall pick and what centers may or may not be available with that pick. So let's dive in, and first, let's go through some players that they might not be able to get at 18th. So there are 4 centers that, based on the public draft rankings that are out there from many smart people who know the draft far better than I do, there's 4 that you're pretty much definitely not going to get unless you trade up. The Flames, again, are slated to draft 18th. You're not going to get these 4 guys at 18th. Those 4 guys are Michael Misa, James Higgins, Anton Frondel, and Caleb Desnoyers. There's also 4 players that you're probably not going to get unless you trade up. One of these guys might slide. You never know. The draft is weird. So one of these guys might slide, but the general consensus is they probably won't slide that far. And so the 4 centers you're probably not getting unless you trade up are Roger McQueen, Jake O'Brien, Brady Martin, and Carter Bear. Now, let's dive into 4 guys we think that Flames will have available to them when they pick at 18th overall, and we can sort of dig into which guy might be the best fit for them. All right, first off, let's dive into Braden Coots, the captain of the Seattle Thunderbirds of the Western Hockey League. I'm going to be quoting a bit from some sources here, so shout out to some very nice people at Daily Faceoff and Dobber Prospects for their very detailed and meticulous work on these prospects. Stephen Ellis from Daily Faceoff said this as part of his recent draft rankings, quote, "Coots might become more of an energy forward in the NHL, but he'll be a good one at that. The thing that really stands out here is just how much he wants the puck, and he's willing to do whatever it takes to get it. Coots is also a solid playmaker, often easily finding teammates in open space. I think his value goes far beyond his numbers, which you want from a center." And over at Dauber Prospects, Luke Sweeney said this, "What Coots brings to the table is both obvious and projectable. He plays with absolutely relentless pace, both with the puck and maybe even more so without it. It's genuinely shocking the amount of energy that one player can expend on one shift. He led Seattle in faceoffs in terms of the amount he took, and he won 49% of his faceoffs. So Coots played as a center, projects as a center, he's a center, and he put up pretty good numbers with Seattle on a team that didn't really have a lot of depth on it. So if you wanted to see a player that, you can project as a guy that you can fill out a lineup around him with some higher skilled players, he's a guy that can really help your team. And so, Coots is very well regarded amongst the scouting community this year. All right, let's go to college, and it's Colin Potter at Arizona State University. Here's what Stephen Ellis had to say. Quote, "Potter made the big decision to go to college early, and it paid off. He played around 20 minutes a night at ASU, and scouts were impressed with his play-driving abilities. He's 5'9", but his pure skill and ability to make things happen with the puck should keep him high in the draft conversation." Here's Luke Sweeney. Quote, "Potter may be the most singularly skilled player in the draft. The major concern is his size. Potter is diminutive, coming in at only around 5'9". However, he has a strong defensive motor, definitely more than he gets credit for. Potter also plays with enough tenacity, heart, and energy to leave you feeling like he could improve even further in this area. In terms of his faceoffs, Potter took the second most amount of faceoffs on ASU, but he didn't win a lot of them. He won about 44%. So he is a center, and he has a lot of skills that you really want a center to have, but the face-off aspect will be a challenge for him, and he's not huge. And more and more the NHL is projecting towards big boys as centers. I don't think that's necessarily an essential thing, but the smaller centers are few and far between, and you really have to be exceptional at something to be a smaller center of the NHL. And time will tell if Potter can do that, but that's sort of a caveat, an asterisk, so to speak, on the season that he had. Let's go closer to home to the Calgary Hitmen and Ben Kindle. Here's Ellis. Quote, Kindle does a great job of finding open space and exploiting it, and he has a shot he can unleash from just about anywhere. Below average skating and a lack of a physical edge knock him down a few pegs, but many teams should consider him for his pure skills and a solid all-around improvement. I watched a lot of Kindle this year with the Hitmen. He's good. He's not huge. He's only listed about 5'10" and 170, 180 pounds. But, you know, he really drives play. He played a mixture of center and the wing. He was fourth on the Hitmen in faceoffs taken this year. And a reflection that even though he was a top six guy all year, he was sort of used in and out of the center ice position. As when he was younger, he was a center, and just, you know, he came into the Hitmen and they had a lot of older guys who were centers, so he got moved to the wing. And this year he started to get moved back a bit more. Last year he took the fifth most faceoffs with the Hitmen, so he's being moved a bit more and more towards the center position. But there, if you want to question, will he be a center long term? Yeah, I think that's probably a concern you might be able to have. And again, he's 5'10", so he's not massive. He did win about 54% of his draws this year. Last year, 57%. So he is someone that, you know, even though he's not huge, he's not Potter small, but he's not a huge guy. But he plays bigger than his size, and he really had a big impact on the Hitmen this year. I mean, you know, when you're flirting with 100 points in your draft year, it means you're doing a lot of things well. And because of that, and because of how much of a surprise the Hitmen were this year in the Western League, they really took a step forward. And Kindle was a guy who was a big piece of pushing the team forward this year. And because of that, I think he's getting a lot of draft consideration for everything he was able to do. And finally, the fourth guy, Cole Reshny of the Victoria Royals. Here's Stephen Ellis, quote, Reshny's ability to produce no matter the situation makes him so intriguing. He's not huge, but he makes up for it with explosive speed and elusiveness, making him a tough player to contain on the rush. He's an outstanding playmaker, maybe one of the best in his class. Reshny's competitive nature will take him far, and he has proven internationally he can be an offensive catalyst with other high-end prospects. Dauber's Austin Kelly cited his hot and cold tendencies this season. Quote, he looks more of a boom or bust player than fellow undersized B-tier prospects Potter and Kindle, and he doesn't have the same high-end toolkit the other two possess, although he's a bit more detail-oriented. He has the tools, but he lacks a standout trait. He led Victoria in face-off taken. He won about 56% of them, so he's a straight-up bona fide center. He has the tools that you want a center to have, and you know, as Ellis mentioned, you know, he has the ability to really be an exceptional playmaker. But yeah, he's one of those guys where there have been stretches this year where at least statistically he hasn't shown up on the score sheet as often as he might. But even with that sort of tendency, he still, you know, was over 90 points, flirting with 100 this year, and so he's someone that, if you're the Flames, if you're anyone needing a center in the mid to late first round, I think Reshny's going to get a lot of consideration. And Reshny's going to be heading to the University of North Dakota next year, which would be a very good program. So he's going to be, you know, a guy that continues to be pushed and develop further. And, you know, he has a lot of fans in the scouting community. Finally, let's shout out 6 guys that probably would be a bit of a stretch for the Flames at 18th overall, but might be around at 31st or 32nd with the Florida pick. The 6 guys are Russian center Ivan Ryabkin, Jack Nesbitt, Milton Gastrin, Eric Nilsson, Cole McKinney, and William Moore. It's a center-heavy first round, and so if you're the Flames and you're a team that feels like you have some defensive depth, you feel like you have a lot of talent on the wings, but you kind of need to fill out the middle of your lineup, this might be the ideal draft for you to have multiple picks in the first round and, you know, 4 picks in the first 3. You know, so if you're the Flames, you know, the question is, can you use the picks to fill in the gaps the way you want, and can the guys that you pick up keep developing the way some guys in your last 2 draft classes have? That's everything I got for now. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, please click the like button. If you really like this video, please click the subscribe button and help me keep the channel growing. Really appreciate everybody subscribing the last little while. It's been really exciting to see that subscriber number grow, and I'll hopefully have some more fun things in store for you as we get closer to the draft and then later in the summer. But for now, that's all I got. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.